Good morning. It's a beautiful day here, a bit wet for a change, which is awesome. We really are in desperate need of some humidity after a long summer. So, I wanted to share some of my crazy thoughts, and I have to say, I'm not a specialist in anything. I'm not a doctor, I don't have a PhD, I didn't went to college, none of those things. So, take everything I say, as entertainment, with a grain of salt, metaphorically speaking. I've been reading about the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, original Hinduism, original Buddhism. It's quite fascinating. I suppose, 5,000 years ago, that was probably the center of the world, that area. Might be mistaken. But I noticed there are similarities. The cosmologies are similar around the world. And you would say, oh, someone is copying out of each other. Not necessarily. I suppose once you start thinking deeply about these things, you end up in the same place. Yeah? You end up in the same place. We are, after all, limited by these senses that we have. We are limited, and we are pretty much, having the same experience, slightly different, because if all of us, have different points of view. Um, but ultimately, the conclusion would be similar. Similar, even though cultures never, engage with each other, but they end up at the same conclusions. You can see the similarities. This is undeniable. Some people say it's the collective consciousness. Well, it could be. Who knows? Something that everybody pretty much agreed, is the immortality of the soul. Yes. I think it was in Egyptian lore. I read this in Egyptian lore. I don't know if it's repeated elsewhere as well. The step into consciousness when humans first realized what they were is when they learned how to differentiate the soul from the ego, right? When they became aware of the existence of the soul, that's when things changed. Yeah, that's the first step into consciousness. Before that, we were just, I suppose, like every other, animal that lives in this world. So once you become conscious of the existence of the soul, you realize that the soul could be immortal. You know, a phrase that is repeated, a phrase, a small sentence, a small saying, the repeated in Sanskrit and Pali is tatvamasi, roughly translated, that thou art. Um, this phrase, tatvamasi, is a realization of our immortality. And when I say our, I'm talking about the soul, the immortality of the soul. Sometimes people, this depends on the modality of each people, all right? Not everybody has the same axiology or the same epistemology. Axiology meaning the same value system, or epistemology as the way you know things, the way you achieve and know things, how you go into the essence of things. You know, people have different ways of going, of achieving, these things, different points of view, which is great. something that must be cherished and protected. All of these points of view, unlike some movements that wish to destroy everybody that has a different view, right? So Tatvamasi, people could say, "Who are you?" Asking, this very easy question, I suppose, but some people never thought about it. Who are you? Some people could say, "Oh, I am the same as you. I am you. And you know what? You are me as well. The same as me." What they are saying is the same immortal essence that animates this body is the same as yours. So you are me and me and you. But we have to make a distinction that not to confuse the immortal essence with the ego. All right. This is an important distinction. Again, that's what the Egyptians were saying a long time ago. When finally we stepped into consciousness, we realized there was a difference between the ego and the immortal soul. Yeah. So what is the ego? Well, the ego is like a facade. It's like a persona, and it's created little by little, as you grow up. And this ego actually becomes solidified through your childhood experiences. It will be there till the day you move on. Um, but often this ego pretends that it is you, you know. Yeah, it convinces you that you are the ego and nothing else. And that's where the atheists come into the situation, come into the picture. The atheists, the anti metaphysic, anti soul, anti everything. They just believe in the ego. And the ego, like this body, has a beginning and an end in time. So they believe in nothing. They believe there's no meaning, and once you pass away, it's the end. So often they ask, what happens after we die? The ancient cultures and ancient metaphysics would answer, what makes you think you are that which dies? It doesn't make any sense. The ego is not immortal. The soul is, by the way. So why do people remember past lives? Because the soul remembers past lives, remembers details. It's not the ego that reincarnates. No, it's the soul that transmigrates. Yeah. Imagine, allegorically speaking or metaphorically speaking, a person that has very poor eyesight is, allegorically the soul, and it drops its glasses. The glasses represents the body. When they drop the glasses, they start feeling with their hands, where are the glasses? Where are the glasses? Where are the glasses? I can't see. I can't see. Where are the glasses? That's the soul when it separates from the body. It starts feeling, where's the body? Where is it? And starts to grasp and find another body. And when it does, oh, there it is, and it puts the glasses on. Metaphorically, allegorically speaking, that's probably what happens. The soul is not yours or mine. So when people say, "Who are you?" they might be inclined to say, "I am you and you are me." The same immortal essence that animates me is in you as well. So we are one. The difference that separates us is the ego. And this is on purpose, because the one or the soul wanted to experience individuality. It was bored of being one and only. And one day it literally um, saw itself for what it was and choose mortality, so to speak. I want to be mortal, and recreated itself. It's not a creation type of thing. In metaphysics, it is said that the physical world already existed, and the soul only animates it. Yeah, it's almost like if you have the honeycomb empty, and the soul is the honey that fills it. And you know, so to speak. Don't take these analogies too far. It literally penetrates the physical and animates it. Yeah, like in those films of possession, right? They possess, they animate the corpses. And so when someone asks, "Who are you?" you could say, "I am you, and you and I are I," because the same immortal essence that's in you, it's in me as well. And the only thing that differentiates us is the ego, this unique point of view that each one of us has. Yeah. So again, this unique point of view is actually one of the purposes of life, is to experience this unique point of view. And all unique points of view are to be cherished and protected. Those who wish to only have one point of view, one thought, one book, one government, one way of doing things, those are anti-human. Those are anti-life. Those are the anti-Christ, because they are anti-human. They are anti-soul. They are anti-everything. We call them totalitarians. They are having an ego trip, because the ego is quite evil. It can be quite evil, quite possessive, controlative, manipulative, quite violent. That's the ego. Oh, anyway. All right, I'm gonna continue my daily routine. I'm walking here in this piece of forest. I've been taking care of this piece of forest, and as long as it's mine to take care of, I've been planting many trees and etc. And it's kind of awesome. Just, I spend a lot of time here, and I notice the wildlife that it starts, settling in. All sorts of birds, reptiles, foxes, all sorts of animals. The other day, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, I saw a squirrel, and I thought to myself, I would love to have a bunch of squirrels live here as well. So I start planting trees, nuts, and you know trees that give nuts. Um, it's gonna take a while for them to grow, but who knows? Maybe one day a bunch of squirrels come and live here. Oh man, the other day someone approached us and said, "Hey, can I hunt in your forest?" Are you crazy? I saw some of those, you know, faisans. Faisans. How do you say that in English? Faisans. I saw some of them, and no, you can't. Are you crazy? Anyway, have a nice day.